Okay. That was our sister Hurricane Nisi, and like I said, I was ready for her to unleash it because it was. I know it was building up. Trust me, I looked through all of these clips, and that's the reason why I decided to speak about this today. Also, it ties in with a clip that I'm going to show you guys before we get up out of here. Salute Leonard De Yuda. Salute to you, family, and shalom. Thank you for being here, family. Willie Bonnie, thank you for being here, and shalom to you. Up next, we got our brother Jesse Paris. What's up with you, my brother? Oh, you muted, family.
Sorry about that. B1 salute to the family, salute to the chat. Um, what I wanted to say was I've been a member of a third party for the past 5 years, the Unity Party of Colorado, and I noticed the same thing when we brought up reparations at our national convention. They was talking about, oh, we can't talk about that. That's gonna take away our voters. We're gonna offend our voters. And I was like, look, we don't even got no damn support as it is, and you'll get black people behind you if you support reparations. So I was saying all that just to say that all these third parties that I've had experience with, which is several, the Green Party, the Mahali Party, the um, the People's Party, the Freedom Party, they're all pushing this. Oh, it's all about class. It's all about class. I've said for the longest, racism trumps classism. There is no greater ism than racism and white supremacy. All the other isms stem from that. So when they try to put this notion out that, oh, we need to be fighting for class, no, that's a misnomer. We need to continue to fight against racism and white supremacy and replace it with a system of justice, which
Absolutely.
is that nobody's mistreated by the color of their skin, and those that need the most constructive help get it in a constructive manner in all 9 areas of human activity, which is economics, education, labor, law, politics, sex, war, and religion, and some say health and nutrition. All
Mhm.
9 areas of human activity. That's what the code taught us. I had nearly fill this book, so I'm really codified. So
Let
when
me
he,
ask you this, and I
go,
don't mean to cut you off, but let me ask you this question because if you've been in, if you've been a card carrying third party member for a while, that
yes,
means that you've seen a lot
yes,
for a while, right? You've been around for a while, right? So my question to you would be, how would they respond when you give them that energy for reparations, saying, hey, you would actually bring in more black Americans if you were talking about reparations rather than trying to ignore it.
they responded with that same notion. Oh, this isn't about race. This is about class. We need to focus on class and other issues. Like they always deflect. They'll always either deflect or make it try to gaslight you. Oh no, that was a long time ago. We moved past all that. No, the hell we haven't. Just because our motto is not left, not right, but forward, don't mean that we have moved any iota. Like Dr. Claude Anderson taught us. Case in point, it was Dr. Claude Anderson that inspired me to go independent in the first place back in 2013, right after Obama started his second term. Because, mind you, Black family, I was a Democrat at one time. I worked on both Sambo's campaigns. Because at the time, I was like, oh, I'm glad to have a black face in a high place. And this was the first time I was able to vote. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'll cast my vote for Sambo. But after seeing that he didn't do nothing specifically for us, and it was an open season on us, even though it's been open season on us, but it really became open season under old Sambo. And the killing of Trayvon Martin, that inspired me to get into the activism. And then when I heard Dr. Claude Anderson say all Native Black Americans at that time, this is before FBA and A Dunce and any of the other stuff, he
Mhm,
said we need to register as a block as independent. He said you
mhm,
need to drop Democrat, you need to drop Republican, and you need to be a registered independent. And at the time, I was already leaning that way anyway because I had already been a Democrat. I was briefly a Republican, and then I said, well, neither one of these parties is doing us any good, so I'm also become a third party. And right when I said that, Dr. Claude Anderson was like, yeah, we need to change our voter registration to independent.
Yeah, the last election, the independent party was the most. Well, let me rephrase that. The independent party has become as big as the Republican Party, according to reports, and has trumped the Democratic Party. That's how bad these groups have been doing, these policies that they've been putting out have been doing. And I asked you that question because there's a lot of folks who say, well, third parties, they tend to address our issues a lot faster or a lot more. But then when we try to bring up reparations or a black hate crime bill, like when Bernie Sanders was in the third party, it became all about, no, it's divisive. It's about classism, and it always goes back to classism.
Yeah, it's not feasible, but your people get a check every year, but it's not feasible for us to get what
Exactly.
to us.
No, you're absolutely right there. But also, while you were in the Democratic Party, you saw that the Democratic Party had their talking points.
Oh yes.
While you was in the Republican Party, you saw that the Republican had their talking points. So the Democrats always wanted to speak about immigrants and not wanted to talk about the issues of Black America. The Republicans is always trying to get foundational Black Americans to just erase their history and just be happy within their party, right? The third party is always pushing the same damn thing, no matter what third party group you're a part of. It's always classism, and that's what I've noticed. That's why I've never ever claimed a third party. I've done my research on many third parties, but all of them said the same damn thing. It was a class issue and not a white supremacist issue, and that's where I'm like, nah, buddy, you gotta go. You got to go.
Right. And that's how we felt with the Unity Party, the Libertarian Party, and the Green Party. I experienced firsthand here in Colorado how racist the Green Party was. And I was like, nah, I'm not going that route. I can't do it. The only reason why I stayed with the Unity Party because I got on the ballot. That was pretty much it. Because we brought people for office. But besides that, they're not on code or nothing. Now we talking about everything's about class, and can we not talk about race? And they got a black man that's leading the party, and he's anything but black. We got to keep reminding him.
Salute to Russian Boss Revenge. Thank you for being here, family. All right, family. So I'm gonna ask you this last question, then I'll let you land and say whatever you need to, whatever you want to say after this. But this last question I want to ask: when you became a third party member, how long did it take for you to say, okay, I need to find somewhere else because they don't want to address these issues? And how many times did you have to do that within the third party? Because there's different sectors of third party groups and stuff like that, right? And so you named a bunch of them. And so how many of those sectors did you go through before you realized that just the third party in itself is all the same talking points?
I would say about a year or two. I've been with the Green. Like I said, I started off. I was a Bernie Sanders supporter. I was with him until he said it wasn't feasible, and I jumped on that train and was like, nah, I'm not going that route. I'm just gonna be straight independent. I don't need a party. And then it was my pops that had introduced me to the Unity Party. And he was like, "Yeah, they want us to run for office under this party. We should give them a look at." They ended up making us like the heads of the party. My dad was the senior chairman, and I was the junior chairman. Well, once my dad found out they wasn't supporting reparations, he was like, "I'm out, deuces." So they elected another brother to be the chairman, T.J. Cole or Chijanji, and we have to keep reminding him that he's black. So it took about a year or two, I would say, about a year or two before we noticed, they on that same shit. And we worked as hard as we could because we were voting members, so we were able to change, the constitution of the party, and then add planks to the party. So we added reparations, we added anti-black hate crime legislation, we added stuff that was pertaining to us. But their main platform was mainly on classism and geopolitical affairs like Ukraine and Israel and stuff like that. They wasn't really focused on what we was focused on, but we made it a point to stress, these are our issues. This is what we would like the party to be in support of. And there was a lot of backlash, a lot of they stole their true racist white supremacist colors and was like, yeah, we don't even want to talk about. We could talk about it, but as far as us really looking deep into it, we're not gonna really go down that route. We'll rather pass a plank for Ukraine. It was that type of stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm gonna be honest with you. That was one of the reasons why I could never rock with Cornel West. Cornel West, he's one of those same type of people to where he will sit there and take the black plight and he will sit there and talk about how everything is so tragic, and then he'll bring up out of nowhere the plight of somebody in Palestine or bring up the plight of the goddamn illegals. And while we're sitting there trying to talk about redress, he's over there basically trying to talk about somebody else's nonsense. Salute Crew Reality. Thank you for being here, family. FBA Grand Niggas. Thank you for being here, family.
Cornel West, right? So I'm at Cornel West when I was in college back in 2011, 2012. And at that time, it was standing room only, nothing but the Biscos to see him. And I had got one of his books. I can't remember the name right now off the top of my head, but I had got one of his books. And these, I think it was Race Matters. It might have been the Race Matters book. And these crackers was getting their signatures. And I forgot what I asked him. I had asked him something pertaining to the black community, and he was kind of like, "Oh, I don't want to answer that right now." So fast forward to last year, my party is choosing whether we want to nominate him or RFK Jr. Mm-hmm. A lady convinced me to convince them to nominate Cornel West, and I was like, I'm not really digging Cornel West. And she was like, yeah, y'all just sleeping on y'all sleeping on him. Y'all just need to see what he's talking about. So long story short, we ended up endorsing him. This Negro ended up changing his platform on reparations. Initially, when I endorsed him, even before the Black Alpha Network interview that he did, he had a reparations up there and he had a dollar amount. It was either 14 or 20 trillion. He had a dollar amount up there, right? So I was like, okay, that's a start. Even though over here at Frontline Campaign, Frontline Black News, we're saying 100 trillion. I was like, okay, well, that's a start. He got something up there. And then as the election went on, as the campaign went on, it started changing up the website. And you started to see, you couldn't see nothing about a reparations amount. And I looked really foolish because I went on TBAs and I was like, look, I support Cornel West. I'm going to get him on here. I got his direct number or whatever. But he was literally going out his way after that Black Alpha Network interview to dodge us. He was not able to deal or interact with us. So I ended up seeing him again because he had came to Colorado, he came to Denver. I've seen him twice in Boulder, and he came to Denver. These raccoons that we know out here, they put on a gathering. It was a Democratic fest to bash him. But they bashed him when he wasn't even present. It was real sneaky, snivy, conniving what they did, the Democrats out here. Because they were mad because we got him on the ballot out here and that people were actually like gravitating toward him. And they was like, no, we can't have that. We want y'all to vote Kamala. We want y'all to vote blue no matter who.
Hold on 1 second, my brother. 1 second. Andrea Jones. Yes, my sister. That is the correct Cash App. Tahuti Son is also one of my nicknames. The Son of Wisdom. The Son of the Sun. However, my brother.
Yes.
Because I got to say this real quick.
Hold that thought. I got to turn the stove off food. And I was cooking something for Lady Che before I got on here. So 1 second, Black family.
Okay. So while my brother is going to do that real quick, I want to do this for you guys, family. We're going to pull him to the side there. We're going to give this the full attention it deserves, because I did this broadcast today. And the fact of the matter is this: we are not fighting the same fights. Black Alpha says this several times over. He says two people can be doing the same thing for two different reasons. And what we're doing is now bringing to the forefront what is owed to us. They're trying to take away what's owed to us by making it about everybody else. Now, family, I told you guys that I was working on this project, and I told you I would bring it to you guys when the time was right. And speaking about this topic today, I felt there could be no other right time. Now, I didn't drop this for the members. The members already just seen this trailer. But I told you guys that I was coming with a new series. And I want to show you the series right now. I want to show you the trailer for the series right now. And it will be dropping really, really soon. So this right here is another situation why I'm not letting anybody tell me about no goddamn class. Damn classism. Damn trying to make it about capitalism. When the fact of the matter is really about this. And I'm going to pull this down for a second so you guys can get the full damn screen. There was once a time when the streets rang with laughter, when Black-owned businesses lined the corners, when jazz poured from club windows and families built their future one brick at a time. These were cities within cities, communities carved out of exclusion but rich in culture, resilience, and pride. And then bulldozers came under the banner of progress in the name of urban renewal, with laws written in fine print and enforced with wrecking balls. This is the story of what was lost. Welcome to Eminent Domain, a journey through the neighborhoods that once thrived, the families that were uprooted, and the policies that erased Black cities from the American landscape. From Black Bottom in Detroit, to Haiti in North Carolina, to the Fillmore in San Francisco, we uncover the hidden history buried beneath highways and high rises, because memory is resistance and truth deserves its place on the map. Family, family, family. We're getting into the eminent domain situation. We got to, because that has nothing to do with classism. All the things that was taken from us, that was destroyed and then taken from us, all of the situations, all of that stuff had nothing to do with classism. None of the poor whites had to deal with that. None of the poor whites had to deal with that. None of the Nabiscos, whether at any level, whether poor, whether middle class, whether high class, none of those Nabiscos had to deal with that. Destroying predominant Black cities and making sure we can't go back and rebuild by throwing railroads through them or flooding them or doing whatever the evil within white supremacy does. Oh, no, family. That's why we're taking it as a major disrespect for anybody. I mean anybody who's running around here saying that classism is the fight of our time. We're not having it. We're not having it. You got the game messed up. Ain't nobody dealt with what we dealt with. Salute to Andrea Jones. Thank you for your Cash App donation, my sister. Your donation is blessed tenfold, and I truly appreciate your contribution. Oh, yeah, this is a passion project for me, family. Yes, we're going to talk about as many cities as possible because there's way too many people running around here making it seem as if, well, why don't you guys just, build up? Why can't you guys pull yourself up by your bootstraps? You got all these people that come to America that do better than you and all this nonsense. And they negate to speak about our greatness. They negate to speak about what we've built, what has been destroyed, what has been taken over, and what has been ran right through. Shalom and salute to our brother Damon Reeves. Thank you for being here, family. So this is a very, very big project for me because I've been compiling city after city. I've been compiling information on this for a long time, maybe about 6 years now. And I can use this information now in the way that I wanted to use it. I was going to put it in a book, which I might still do. But for the new generation, we're going to have to do something for the new generation, which is put it in a book and give them something that'll stimulate their minds in order to make them want to go and read that book. So no, family, this ain't got nothing to do with classism. The fight of your time is not fighting against capitalism. We don't care about the capitalism. We just don't want to be the ones that are what? Excluded from that capitalistic system. We're not going to be the ones who allow people to use us to build their way up that capitalistic system. And now that we're sitting here and our voices are the loudest ones in the room, and not just the loudest ones, but the most credible ones in the room, and we're talking about reparations, all of a sudden you want to tear down the capitalistic system. It's the same type of tricks that they've been doing, family. The same damn tricks when we're talking about reparations and people come in talking about we should get reparations in gold. We should get reparations in god dang Bitcoin or whatever the hell else. Education, left and right, all this nonsense. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. And to all of that, I'm saying hell to the no. Ain't nobody went through what we done went through. And the laws are still on the books till this day. And until we repair the people that need to be repaired. We're not going to sit here and concentrate on class or capitalism or anything else. Y'all didn't have a problem with it until now. Salute, Dark Titan. Thank you for being here, family. In here, my bad, family. My brother Jesse, come back up real quick, family. I wanted you to land your plane. I don't know what the hell happened and why you got cut, but I want you to land your plane real quick because you was serving off a lot of great information, especially about the third parties. I put the link back down there so you can come back up if you want to. And anybody else that wants to come up and talk about that information, go ahead and just come on up. Anybody that wants to talk about whether you believe it is either capitalism that's the problem, whether it's classism that's the problem, or is it white supremacy? Oh, Jesse, you done? All right, my brother, if you done, like I said, you can hit that link and come up and finish what you have to say real quick, and then we can land off. I'll give you a few seconds. But family, like I said, the most disrespectful thing to me is the fact that you're trying to sit here and take what we done did in this country and what we done been through in this country and try to equate it to somebody else's struggle that isn't really a struggle. It's a karmic effect. It's an ABK. It's a you problem and not a me. Just because you're trying your hardest to make us feel like it affects all of us, I want you to understand something. And this is to all the Nabiscos. This is to all the lap dogs, the coons, the tethers, the knuckle draggers, any one of y'all. Let me just be very clear on this. Until reparations is paid, everything else will be delayed. Let me reiterate that. Until reparations get paid, everything else will be delayed. So no matter what you're talking about, it means nothing to us. No matter what you're preaching on, it means nothing to us. If you're not supporting what is necessary for foundational Black Americans, which reparations and the Black agenda, which is the goal, everything else is being pushed to the side. The Black hate crime bill, everything else is being pushed aside. Until reparations is paid, everything else will be delayed. My brother Jesse, you back up here, family. I wanted to let you end off and get your landing point off because I asked you a few questions and I wanted you to answer those. So I appreciate you for answering those, but I also wanted you to be able to land your plane on the issue you wanted to land it on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Church. Much appreciated, brother. Yes, none of these parties mean us no good, Black family. At this point, we need to either create our own party, which there are a couple that exist already that are Black political parties, like the Mahali Party, which I mentioned earlier, the party that Marshall Gray Dixon ran under in South Carolina is also another option. But these parties are only limited to a couple of states. So, unfortunately, at the national level, the only parties we have to work with is the Green Party, which is racist as hell, the Libertarian Party, which is also racist as hell, the Unity Party, which I've already displayed is racist as hell, the Constitutional Party, and a slew of other parties like the Approval Party, the Prohibition Party. But none of these parties are specifically for foundational Black Americans outside of the Mahali and the party that Greg Marcel Dixon ran under. So there is a template that exists But as far as the major political parties, no, they don't mean us no good at all. They're racist as hell. They have their talking points, like we've already talked about, and none of them are beneficial to us. So keep that in mind when you're looking for a political party. If you're not for reparations, that should be the first sign that they're not the party for you. And both the Democrats and the Republicans have made it perfectly clear they're not for us or our reparations. The Green Party's made it clear they're not for reparations. Just go back and listen to that interview that TBA did with Jill Stein and Bush Ware. That should be a telltale enough. We've seen with Cornel West with the interview that Black Alpha Network did, he's not with it either because he's got dual alliances, and we can't be supporting people that have dual alliances and dual commitments. Our commitment is to reparations and ultimately the liberation of our people. But reparations is the first things first. If they're not on board with lineage-based direct cash payments, don't waste your time, Black family. So appreciate you having me on, Church. Make sure y'all check out Frontline Black News later on. We'll be going on with part 2. I'll put the link in the chat. I'll do it again. Appreciate y'all. The fight is racism, white supremacy, and replacing it with a system of justice, which guarantees that nobody's mistreated by the color of their skin, and those that need the most constructive help get it in a constructive manner. So if none of these parties are made that their mission or their goal, then don't waste your time.
Much love to you, family. Salute to you. Shalom to you. I thank you for coming up, and I thank you for bringing that information because, like I said, it's one thing to actually speak on these situations, but for a person that's been through so many different sectors within the third party, that information is very valuable because it goes to show exactly what we've been saying. We have no friends. All we have is people who are trying to leech off of us and leech off of our energy and use us to push their narratives forward. So yes, I agree with you. There is no other system to be looking at rather than the system of white supremacy. That's the system that needs to be dismantled. That one needs to be replaced. And every other thing comes after which. And you cannot dismantle that system without paying those reparations. Until reparations are paid, everything else will be delayed. And salute to our brother Jesse for coming up. I appreciate you, family. Now, if you're not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you have not done so yet, please hit that link in the description. Go to change.org and put your signature on the petition for reparations. And with that being said, family, salute the brother Reef. Thank you for being here, family. I see you come in, Twin Pyramids. Thank you for coming in, family. I see, well, pause. Thank you for being here. I saw you jump in. I want to show you guys love. I appreciate each and every one of you who's been in the chat. I appreciate each and every one of you who's not in the chat, but that'll be watching this later. I appreciate everybody that contributed tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. Excuse me. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to actually, spread this information and spread this knowledge. It's one thing to have a new Black media, and it's another thing to have actual Black media. See, the new Black media, like I said, is the fact that we're moving in a new way. The Black media in itself is, to me, typically you guys, because everything that you guys do in order to spread the message is what brings more people to the message. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I know it ain't always easy. You got a lot of naysayers sometimes, but guess what? The fact of the matter is, all the work that you've been putting in has brought us to the point where we are today. And if if people aren't saying that to you, then they're not being real with you, family. The work that you put in has brought us to where we are today, where we got all these folks getting real upset that we're not jumping into their fights. We got all these folks getting real upset that they can't switch the narrative. We got all these folks acting like dummies. because they want us to act like dummies too. We're not having any of that. And it's because of each and every one of you who's been spreading the same message that it's about Black empowerment. It is not about anything else. If Black empowerment is not on the table, then guess what? Nobody's going to have dinner. We're not here to eat anything other than what we came to eat. Pause. It's all about making sure our next generation will be taken care of. So I salute each and every one of you, and I thank you for being here, family. Before we go, I'm going to play this trailer one more time because, like I said, it is very apropos that I play this on this live because, like I said, our fight is with the system of white supremacy and the same system that did this to us. There was once a time when the streets rang with laughter, when Black-owned businesses lined the corners, when jazz poured from club windows and families built their future one brick at a time. These were cities within cities, communities carved out of exclusion but rich in culture, resilience, and pride. And then bulldozers came under the banner of progress in the name of urban renewal, with laws written in fine print and enforced with wrecking balls. This is the story of what was lost. Welcome to Eminent Domain, a journey through the neighborhoods that once thrived, the families that were uprooted, and the policies that erased Black cities from the American landscape. From Black Bottom in Detroit, to Haiti in North Carolina, to the Fillmore in San Francisco, we uncover the hidden history buried beneath highways and high-rises, because memory is resistance and truth deserves its place on the map. And with that being said, family, a B1 salute to all the members / producers on that project. And a B1 salute to each and every one of you. Black first, Black first, Black first. Cut the check. And with that being said, family, the doors of the church are now closed. Peace.
My grandfather built this country, man. He fought wars for it. And most places he went wouldn't let him sit down and get a cup of coffee. I can't even catch a cab in New York. You know, it doesn't matter how many degrees I get. All you people see is color. Your grandfather was an immigrant. You're American. My grandfather was born here, Duke. And you people still look at me as just another nigga.
I know that the government, whatever, can't stand us Black people. He's doing everything in the world to make Black man be extinct. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Us Black people going to survive. Yeah. So fuck everybody.